Ursa Major, the Great Bear. Ursa Minor, the Little Bear. Orion, the Hunter. These are constellations nearly everybody in the western northern hemisphere will be able to recognize. But if you ask an Ojibwe astronomer, these constellations would be Ojig, the Fisher, Mang, the Loon, and Bebunkeonine, the Winter Maker, respectively. Every culture on the planet has their own unique set of stories and beliefs surrounding the night sky to remind them of both seasonal events and moral and societal teachings. For example, the Ojibwe used the constellation Mishi-Bejeu, the curly-tailed panther, as a reminder that lakes are thawing and are unsafe to traverse. Nowadays, the 88 constellations that are considered official by the International Astronomical Union, which is internationally recognized to have the final say over everything regarding outer space, are all invented by Europeans. In the case of some northern hemisphere constellations, this isn't a big issue because they do tell meaningful stories and carry valuable life lessons. However, in many other cases, especially in the southern hemisphere, the IAU enforced official constellations are quite arbitrary, having very little, if any, meaning. An example of this is the southern hemisphere constellation Musca, the Fly, which has no significance or meaning in the mythology of those who created it. It's literally just a fly. This is unfortunate because there are several cultures within the southern hemisphere in which the stars in Musca do represent something important. The Wardaman people in Australia have seen them as a ceremonial boomerang, which contributes to a larger part of the sky that has a rich mythological and societal significance. To the Kalapalo people in Brazil, the two brightest stars of Musca are the ornate hawk eagle's flutes. On top of constellations that have zero importance in any folklore, there is another official constellation that must be addressed: Indus the Indian. To be fair, there are several constellations that represent people, but there are two main differences. One, all the others are representative of mythical figures, while Indus depicts a real stereotype. 2. Most others are limited to the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, where Indus is indeed located, most constellations represent either animals or objects. This placement could be unintentional, but whether it is or not doesn't change the fact that it comes across as very wrong, to say the least. The main issue in the field of astronomy is Eurocentrism. This is caused by the fact that Europeans documented their view of the night sky extensively, aided by the rather large dose of expansionism. However, the world has changed a lot since then. We don't live in the 17th century anymore. The age of empires is long gone. So, what has been done so far to incorporate more cultural diversity in astronomy? What more can be done? The answer to both of these questions is a lot. On one hand, the IAU has made a priority of naming stars based on cultures all around the world. In 2019, the IAU held a contest in which most countries got assigned a star, and each country in turn held an internal contest to name their star as well as any planets that the star has. With this, several countries opted to name their stars based on a culture of their native population. As well, the IAU will also prioritize names for solar system objects proposed by their discoverer, so somebody could choose to preserve an element of their culture by discovering a solar system object and naming it accordingly. Chris Cannon, a cultural anthropology student, documented lots on northern Dean astronomy in Yellowknife, possibly saving it from fading away. On the other hand, though, there's still the problem with the constellations that I talked about earlier. In addition, here in British Columbia, where I live, there is very little to no documentation of Indigenous astronomy. Some efforts are being made with coastal nations, but overall, it's severely lacking. I attempted to gather information about the astronomy of the nation whose territory I live on, but unfortunately, as of the time of this video, there's none available. And this is doubtlessly the case in many other places and cultures around the world. On top of this, the IAU is not very open to star name suggestions, and this is under the idea that names should only be given to stars for navigational or cultural importance or astronomical interest. In my opinion, though, this restriction isn't very good. It doesn't hold up very well. And the reason I think this is because even with that restriction in place, the IAU recognizes official names for stars that have neither cultural nor astronomical significance. See the stars Alpha and Beta Delphini, which are officially named Swallosen and Rotenev. The reason I'm using these as an example is because the names for these stars were literally created as a prank. They're the name Nikolaus Venator backwards. So if prank star names can be officially recognized, why not names that actually mean something? But this video is getting quite long, so let's continue. So, in the end, why does this matter? Why did I make this video? This matters because the night sky is the universe. Now yes, that is a very obvious statement, but I mean something by it. We all live in the universe. We all come from the universe. We share the universe. Our universe is all we have, and everything we will ever get a chance to have. So, isn't it fair that everybody should have the chance to look up to the stars and say, that star represents my identity? Shouldn't everybody be able to think of the cosmos with, that is who I am, rather than seeing something like the constellation Indus and saying, that is who others think I am?